Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
So have you ever had that feeling where your career is just this runaway train?
And your personal life is tied to the track.
Exactly. If that sounds familiar, you were going to want to stick around for this
Yeah.
one. The source documents we're unpacking today, they really do read like a blueprint for burnout.
Oh, absolutely. And not just burnout, but professional chaos. And this completely unexpected high-stakes romance that, only seems to happen when someone is already juggling 7 jobs and running on fumes.
7 jobs. We'll get to that.
We will. We've got this fascinating set of documents detailing a really bizarre collision. On one hand, you have the professional media world in Washington, D.C.
And on the other.
A sudden, deeply personal, and frankly chaotic series of events. It's a compelling case study on how external chaos, and in this case we're talking about a truly spectacular oil spill, can just radically shift a person's trajectory.
Right. Our focus is really split between two people here.
It is. First, you've got Daisy Adams, a woman who is just defined by this relentless sense of responsibility, this incredible hustle.
And then there's Steve Crow. He's an operations manager whose world is, well, it's ordered, it's predictable, it's successful.
And it gets instantly destabilized the second she walks through the door.
So our mission today is really to unpack these nuggets of insight. We're looking at extreme career management, the pursuit of knowledge, or maybe the self-deception around that pursuit.
And how profound, lasting personal change often kicks off with a single high-pressure, oil-slicked moment of absolute panic.
We're going to track this transition from pure professional ambition to complete and unexpected domesticity.
All thanks to a graduate student, a sheepdog named Bob.
And a security guard who, let's just say, has very specific ideas of where to aim.
Okay, so let's set the scene.
We're in Washington, D.C.
At an AM radio station, WZZZ. Now, it calls itself a 24-hour news station.
But the sources make it very clear that its real obsession, the absolute engine of its profitability is traffic.
And the business model is just beautiful in a way.
The station's success is basically inversely proportional to the public's happiness.
Exactly. So nothing, and I mean nothing, says Superior Monday morning for WZZZ, like absolute misery for the rest of D.C.
And our story kicks off with what the sources call a gloriously terrible disaster.
That's the perfect phrase for it. We start with a Ledbetter Oil Company tank truck. It careens off a ramp on the Capitol Beltway.
And spills 500 gallons of flammable black gunk.
All over 4 lanes of rush hour traffic.
The result is immediate. It's spectacular gridlock.
A complete snarl. But for Steve Crow, the operations manager, this isn't a civic disaster.
No. For him, it's a ratings triumph.
And we should probably pause on that for a second, right? Why this is ratings gold.
Yeah, because traffic in D.C. isn't just, an annoyance. It is a constant daily threat to your sanity.
WZZZ provides that essential service. They warn you, they give you an alternate route.
Or at the very least, they give you something to listen to while you sit there, bumper to bumper, contemplating your life choices.
Right, so the worse the traffic gets, the more desperately people are tuning in.
And their whole operation is well-oiled, you could say.
Yeah. Literally and figuratively. They have a helicopter up during rush hour, feeding live reports every 15 minutes.
So Steve Crow's job success is directly tied to the level of vehicular misery outside his window.
And he is absolutely celebrating this gridlock. The source material gives us a great picture of him. He's described as wickedly handsome, very professional.
But he has this little act of defiance, right? The jelly donut incident.
Yes, the donut. His secretary, Charlene, she's observed this. Steve will deliberately smear jelly on his expensive tie during his morning celebration.
Why?
So he has an ironclad excuse not to wear a tie for the rest of the day.
That's amazing. It's this tiny rebellion.
It is. It suggests he thrives on order, but, his own kind of order. He chafes at the superficial rules.
So he's competent, he's controlled, and he's probably never had to really deviate from his plan.
Until 9:30 a.m. on this particular morning.
This is the catalyst for everything. Frank Mencken, the midday traffic repairer.
Frank he's a walking antenna farm. This is the poor guy who has to drive that circular route all day.
And his car is just loaded.
Yeah.
3 scanners, a CB, a 2-way radio.
A car phone, the whole 9 yards. An entire communication suite just to cover traffic.
And he crashes.
He crashes into a garbage truck.
You can't write this stuff. And we get this amazing raw moment on the air.
Right, there's this rapid-fire list of traffic delays, a pause, and then just...
vigorous, unexpected swearing.
Followed by that one, gasped word. Garbage.
So Frank breaks his leg, and just like that, the well-oiled WZZZ machine has this huge, high-paying vacuum right in the middle of its day.
And that vacuum is the precise opportunity that pulls our protagonist Daisy Adams out of her own chaotic orbit and straight into Steve Crow's world.
So meet Daisy Adams. She's 26, a graduate student.
A doctoral candidate in geriatric psychology, no less.
But her real expertise seems to be in the modern hustle. She's got this side career going from her dog cookbook,
Bones for Bowser.
Bones for Bowser, which somehow landed her a 5-minute slot on WZZZ every Monday.
But that 5-minute slot, that is just the tiniest sliver of her commitment portfolio.
Right. The sheer number of jobs she has is staggering. It points to this really deep financial desperation.
All to fund her studies and support her younger brother, Kevin.
Let's just list them because it's important. She is juggling at least 7 income streams.
Okay, so she's a school crossing guard in the mornings.
Then she's a waitress for the grueling 11 to 2 lunch shift.
After that, she has a newspaper delivery route.
Plus the income from Bones for Bowser.
But we find out that royalty check is 3 months away, so cash flow is a real problem.
And on top of all of that, she's supposed to be writing her doctoral dissertation.
It's not just a schedule, it's a lifestyle built on this relentless, forced momentum. She has squeezed every possible dollar out of every possible hour.
And we also learned that other stations have a little nickname for her.
Yes. With a healthy dose of derision, they call her the Dog Lady of Snore.
A direct shot at WZZZ's call letters.
It really underscores just how low status her little dog biscuit segment is in the serious DC media world.
But that status is about to change. Her reason for applying for Frank Menken's job isn't, career ambition.
No, it is pure, unbridled financial necessity.
She hears the job pays double Frank's salary, and she sees a way out.
It's the chance to finally shed some of her physical burdens. She could drop waitressing, maybe even the paper route.
She doesn't need a doctorate to fix her immediate problem. She needs cash. And that drives her straight toward the intimidating man who runs the station.
So Daisy, she marches into that newsroom ready to apply.
And is immediately hit by what the sources call the chemistry of conflict. The attraction and the intimidation, they're just instantaneous.
She sees Steve Crow, the jet black hair, dark, piercing eyes, the whole package, and she is instantly terrified.
The description of her reaction is so visceral. Standing near him feels like taking 15 volts of electricity.
Her scalp is smoking, she says.
And she, this doctoral student who studies complex human emotions, she just attributes this intense feeling to something chemical.
Right. This vague, unsettling physical charge. It's fascinating because the source lets us inside both of their heads.
Daisy intellectualizes it, but Steve,
the operations manager, is way more direct. The second she walks in, his internal monologue just flips. He goes from seeing her as this professional thorn in his side,
the goofy dog biscuit lady,
to feeling a palpable lump in his throat and an ache in his groin.
He knows exactly what's happening.
Oh, he recognizes the discomfort for what it is. Clear, lustful origins. He's noticing the cornflower blue of her eyes. He feels this compelling urge to kiss her.
So her arrival just completely short-circuits his professional operating system. Control is out, instinct is in.
And yet, professionally, he just dismisses her out of hand.
Which is great dramatic irony, right? He's saying putting Daisy Adams in the WZZCD's traffic car was like committing broadcasting suicide.
He's mocking her expertise. Baking dog biscuits, for crying out loud. He can't square the serious image of WZZZ with the Dog Lady of Snore.
But he can't ignore the numbers.
No, and that's the inconvenient truth. He has to admit she gets more fan mail than everyone else at the station combined.
She's entertaining, she's earnest, she's goofy, she's a phenomenon.
So his professional judgment is completely undermined by the very metrics he relies on, audience engagement.
It's also interesting that he assumes she must have come up the hard way with her hustle.
And then he immediately reveals his own secret weapon. He's rich.
He came up the easy way, as he puts it. His father owned a radio network in the Southwest.
Diversified from oil money, Steve moved east to make his own name, which explains his competence.
But that deep well of wealth allows him a casual luxury like his expensive sports car that is just completely alien to Daisy's world.
And that contrast makes her defense of Bones for Bowser even more powerful.
Right, because her defense of canine cuisine is not goofy at all. It's surprisingly serious and grounded.
She is a doctoral candidate in psychology, after all.
She lays out this whole theory about American family dynamics, how pets are substituting for the disappearance of the extended family.
So her segment isn't just novelty. It's a commentary on modern life, an effort to encourage better health for these surrogate family members.
And Skip finds this incredibly articulate and perceptive.
And this is the moment. This is where the gears in Steve's head just completely shift. He stops being the objective manager.
He becomes the self-serving skeever.
Exactly. He realizes he can use her academic interests for his own personal gain.
The infamous internal plan.
Yes. He learns her specialty is geriatric psychology, and that she has a soft spot for old people and obviously for dogs, and his mind just calculates the strategy.
And it is cynically simple. He decides he's a shoo-in.
His plan.
Yeah.
Buy a dog, introduce her to his grandparents, and then show her his bedroom.
I have to ask, though, the source material frames him as this romantic lead, but that plan, it doesn't sound romantic. It sounds deeply calculated.
That's the complexity of his character, right? He's a man who's used to control and strategy. Even his romantic pursuit is, at first, an operational challenge.
He's not wooing her. He's trying to penetrate her defenses with data points.
Exactly. But here's the tension. The act of implementing that cynical strategy, buying the dog, dealing with the chaos, is what forces him to genuinely change. He ends up falling in love with the very chaos he never intended to create.
So the cynical plan becomes the foundation for a genuine attachment.
Precisely. But before any of that can happen, she has to pass the traffic car test.
So Steve takes her out in the news car, the one with enough antenna to get Mars, to ride the loop.
He gives her a demo of what concise, high-stakes radio sounds like. It's rapid-fire, 60 seconds, all while weaving through traffic at 50 miles per hour.
And Daisy, who needs notes for dog food recipes, is just paralyzed. She says she couldn't chew gum and drive at the same time.
And then the inevitable happens, her first official report.
It is an unmitigated disaster.
Steve hands her the headset and she just freezes. The anchor has to cue her 3 times.
Until Steve taps her on the head with a rolled-up newspaper, a classic low-tech move.
Her report is a masterpiece of failure. She manages to say traffic is, the same as before.
If you listened 15 minutes ago, then you pretty much know what's going on.
This is Daisy Adams signing off. The on-air pause is described as being about 4 heartbeats long.
And the anchor sounds strangled.
Any rational manager would have fired her right there.
But Steve is no longer rational. Instead of getting angry, he uses the failure as an excuse to, deepen his infatuation.
Pretty much. He parks her at the Belhaven Marina to practice, with a calming view of the Potomac.
And in that moment, he has this personal revelation.
He admits his whole world has flipped. He's gone from a sane, rational human being to a battle-scarred Tom that had finally found the love of his life.
He wants to crawl into the backseat and howl.
The professional chaos she represents has officially launched his personal, desperate commitment.
So the personal commitment is locked in, but the professional chaos is still in full swing.
Yes. When they finally meet for dinner, she makes this confession that just perfectly illustrates her unique approach to reporting.
She admits that during one of her traffic spots, she gave out a recipe for meatloaf from Bones for Bowser.
Because the actual traffic was just too depressing.
You can just imagine Steve taking these deep breaths, reminding himself that she has absolutely no concept of continuous objective reporting.
But this is where the old-school WZZZ model meets its match.
Because the public loves it. A waitress at the restaurant interrupts them to say Daisy was wonderful.
And she explains why. Daisy made the reports clear by describing accidents using local landmarks, like the gas station with the green and yellow trim and the tubs of red geraniums.
That's a crucial distinction. Traditional reporting uses highway markers, technical terms.
Daisy reports traffic the way real people actually see the world. She uses visual local cues. She speaks the language of the commuter.
And that's why she's suddenly getting all this fan mail. She delivers human context, not just data.
But that human connection is about to pull her into a much darker narrative.
Right. While she's driving, she hears a DC police call on her scanner.
Gunfire, an officer shot, a hostage situation. And it's in the southwest section, which the source notes is known for violence and drugs.
And her editor, who's desperate for a scoop, tells her, "Take the bridge, babe. Go for it. Go mobile."
She rushes to the scene and she sees a TV truck is already there. She thinks she's lost the scoop.
But she realizes her advantage. Radio can go live faster than TV can set up.
The situation stalls. It's a tense standoff.
And this is it. This is the moment she becomes the accidental crime stopper.
The gunman, Barry Leroy, they call him the Roach.
The Roach, right.
He releases the little girl he's holding and makes a run for it, darting between 2 cars.
Right as Daisy is speeding down the cross street.
She slams on the brakes, but it's too late. She hits him. The source says he was deflected off her right front fender.
The police immediately spin the narrative. They say she was going slow and that he ran into her vehicle.
Of course. And just like that, she's a hero who knocked him on his keister and caught a major dope dealer. The minicam swings right to her.
Instant national notoriety.
But that celebrity comes with an immediate and terrifying cost.
As the Roach is being led away, he looks right at Daisy and says,
"You're a marked woman. Your life is gone, sister."
and that direct public threat is what triggers Steve Crow's ultimate protective overreaction.
He hears the bulletin on the radio, and he is just furious with the editor for sending her into a war zone.
His internal monologue is fantastic. She bakes dog biscuits. For crying out loud, she gives fashion reports on accident victims.
His protective instincts just completely override his professional judgment.
And his solution is not rational. It's not professional. It's actually kind of hilarious.
He makes a frantic U-turn and heads straight for the pound.
He's executing the first part of his cynical plan, but now it's driven by genuine panic. He needs a dog for protection, not just for seduction.
And there he finds Bob.
Bob, a large gray and white sheepdog, described as big box with hair.
Likened to the nursemaid dog in Peter Pan, Steve tries to justify it, thinking Bob is just a puppy, even though he's obviously massive.
The dog is a symbol. It's a big fluffy shield against the criminal element.
But the reality of Bob is immediate and messy.
The moment he tries to get the dog into his expensive black sports car, the doubts begin.
Bob barely fits. He sits on the gear shift.
And then he drools. A giant glob right on Steve's shoulder, and then he fogs up all the windows.
This is a $30,000 impulse buy that is turning into an irreversible lifestyle change instantly.
He realizes the car is too small.
So he makes a second spontaneous stop, drives right to a showroom, and trades in the sports car.
And the source notes it was worth at least $30,000 more than the vehicle he got.
For a Jeep.
Is this just careless rich guy behavior, or is this the first real crack in his professional facade?
I think it's the latter. He's usually controlled, but his wealth means the cost is negligible to him. The need for immediate protection is paramount.
And he's justifying it by blaming Bob. He's happy he won't have to find panties on his antenna anymore.
A clear reference to the Bachelor past, he's now willingly, almost gleefully, sacrificing for this new domestic chaos.
The ultimate trade-off. Bachelor lifestyle for sheepdog drool.
And the chaos begins immediately. When Bob meets Daisy, he lunges and pins her against the WZZ car.
Forcing Steve to admit his new protector is a tad low on manners.
The protection racket has officially begun, and it's being led by a gigantic, unruly sheepdog.
The crisis then deepens when the Roach, Barry Leroy, gets released on bail almost immediately.
Which confirms all of Steve's worst fears. The threat is real and it's imminent.
So he tries the logical rich guy move, fire Daisy for her own safety. He even offers to pay her full salary just to stay home.
But Daisy refuses. She needs the money, she actually likes the job now, and she immediately threatens a discrimination lawsuit.
She is not a fragile victim. She's a professional who just stumbled into a career she enjoys.
So Steve is forced into a compromised security. He hires a guard service, but Daisy rejects all their applicants.
Of course she does. She's going to choose her own guard. Elsie Hawkins.
And Elsie Hawkins is an instant, magnificent legend in our source material.
She is elderly. She is a graduate of a mail order, rough and ready security guard service, class of .91.
A degree she earned while recovering from a broken hip.
Which she got while skiing in Vermont. This tells you everything about Elsie's past life.
And she carries a loaded .45 Magnum long-barrel gun in her big patent leather purse.
Steve, understandably concerned about liability, questions her training.
Elsie doesn't give him a resume. She gives him a demonstration.
She pulls out the gun and levels it very precisely at his zipper.
And explains her philosophy. Some people aim for the heart, but I always aim for the privates.
Word gets around when you shoot off a man's privates. People get to be real careful of you.
It's terrifying, but it's also oddly strategic. It's all about deterrence through reputation.
And she admits she got the gun at a yard sale and hasn't really looked into the licensing requirements yet.
So Steve, the man obsessed with rules and order, is now forced to accept 24-hour protection from an unlicensed woman with a yard sale .45 who targets reproductive organs.
The sheer absurdity of it forces him to accelerate his own descent into domesticity.
He can't trust the protection, so he needs proximity. He buys a house half a mile from Daisy with a fenced yard for Bob.
And he starts packing up his bachelor essentials. A tomato bush, a cozy fireplace, a gas grill.
He has this moment of realization with a mix of terror and resignation that he has become a regular family man. A Jeep, a dog, and a frozen pie.
His slick bachelor life is just gone, replaced by suburbia in a matter of days.
All driven by this desperate need to protect Daisy.
And now we get to the crucial Bob test. Steve brings Bob home and claims the dog is very finicky.
But Daisy, the canine cuisine expert, tests her stir-fry recipe on him.
And Bob, the allegedly finicky dog, devours it instantly. Licks the bowl so clean it looks like it came out of the dishwasher.
But Bob isn't finicky. He's just demanding. He eats Kevin's chips. He requires fast food burgers and a vanilla shake when they go out.
He's less of a guard dog and more of a very large, spoiled child.
And Bob's demanding behavior inadvertently becomes the romance catalyst. We have to talk about the couch tactic.
The legendary couch tactic. After their burger run, Bob falls asleep on the couch, taking up almost the entire thing.
Forcing Daisy and Steve to sit pressed together on the last few inches of cushion.
And this leads to their second intense encounter. A deep kiss, engineered not by Steve's planning, but by the dog's refusal to share furniture.
The chaos is creating the connection.
But the external threats keep escalating. Steve has to lie to Daisy about the news car, which was spray-painted with "Death to the Dog Lady."
Daisy gets a threatening crank call, but she's so focused on her grad school lecture that she just shrugs it off, compartmentalizing the fear.
The final, violent escalation, though, it comes from old-fashioned DC gossip.
Steve's Aunt Zena tells everyone about their relationship and, crucially, about Steve's oil wealth.
And the source material identifies this as the trigger.
That night, while Elsie is settling in to watch a giraffe documentary,
The house is firebombed.
the blast blows out the front windows. The fire is confined to the living room. But this isn't just vandalism anymore.
This is a vicious, coordinated act of vengeance.
And it forces Steve to finally bring in 24-hour police protection, even though he has very little confidence in them or in Elsie.
So, under constant police watch and recovering from a firebombing, Steve decides Daisy is at her breaking point.
He decrees that Sunday will be a fun day, a forced vacation to inject some pleasure back into her life.
He takes Daisy, Kevin, and Elsie to an amusement park.
And they are, of course, followed by Lieutenant Schmidt and his partner,
who are immediately miserable. Schmidt is sweating through his jacket, and his partner eats 9 hot dogs and gets sick on his shoes.
The security detail is not having a fun day.
Elsie Hawkins, on the other hand, is in her absolute element.
She's seeking maximum peril. She wants the roller coaster where you stand up.
She teaches Kevin how to stall the old-timey cars, and she threatens a big guy with the beer can tattooed on his forehead who tries to cut in line for the bumper cars.
But the climax of Elsie's day is on the Berserker ride.
Kevin provides the details. When Elsie screams, her false teeth fly out of her mouth.
And snag perfectly on another woman's massively hairsprayed hair.
It's hilarious and surreal, and it just underscores how divorced from normal life Daisy's new reality has become.
But the fun day serves a deeper purpose. While they're sitting on a bench, Daisy confesses she's having a midlife career crisis at 26.
She says she doesn't want to go home and work on her thesis. She said she's not inclined to go work on my dissertation, ever.
And this is devastating for a woman who has built her entire life around this one academic goal.
She realizes she's lost touch with herself. The goal has become so all-consuming that it's now meaningless, and it's driving her toward paralysis.
She lists the small things she loves, like watching the sunrise or the smell of clean shirts. But she admits she has no big fun in her life. The last time she had big fun was eating a whole bag of Oreos.
She's just craving simplicity and relief from the weight of all this responsibility.
Steve tries to diffuse it with a flirty comment, but she cuts right through it.
She says she loves him, but marriage is commitment and responsibility, and she compares it to getting her ears pierced, an irrevocable commitment.
She is drowning in her current obligations. The idea of adding one more permanent one is just psychologically overwhelming.
And then the fun day turns horrifying on the drive home.
On Route 95, an old, heavy Cadillac pulls alongside them.
And it just rams the Jeep, trying to force them into the cement abutment.
This is not a fender bender. It's an assassination attempt. The passenger turns and levels a gun at them.
And this is Elsie's moment of truth.
She wakes up instantly, grabs her massive .45, shatters the side window with the barrel, and just starts blasting away at the Cadillac.
All while shouting instructions at Steve to not damage the Jeep's shiny chrome bumper. Her priorities remain consistent even under mortal threat.
The police lose the attacker, but when the detective arrives on scene, the final bizarre twist is revealed.
They have a make on the vehicle that rammed them.
And the car belongs to Elsie Hawkins.
Her reaction is perfect. If that don't beat all, I've been shooting at my own car. I thought it looked familiar.
Her car had been stolen and was being used in the attack. The details of the plot almost don't matter compared to the personal revelation.
Right, because the terror of the shooting has this clarifying effect on Daisy. She clings to Steve, realizing how precious her life is and that she loves him.
And she's no longer worried about responsibility in general. She's just focused on clearing the one major obligation she has left, her thesis.
She decides she needs 2 months alone to finish it before she can commit to him.
The relationship stalls, but the social pressure immediately ramps up. Steve's parents, Maria and Joseph Crow, fly in.
Because good old Aunt Zena has already broadcast their engagement and Steve's oil fortune to everyone.
Maria, who is described as small and elegant, immediately notices Daisy's ringless finger.
And Daisy, not wanting to disappoint these people who flew 2,000 miles, just panics and lies.
She interrupts Steve to say it was a sudden engagement, and she thought a ring seemed extravagant due to cash flow problems.
She's projecting her own financial anxieties onto them.
And Maria takes this as her cue. She pulls out a small velvet box
Containing her great-grandmother de Ortega's exquisite filigree diamond ring.
and presents it to Daisy as a family heirloom.
Daisy's completely trapped.
Yeah.
By her own lie, by social obligation, she accepts the ring and the engagement, horrified at herself.
Later, when they're alone, Steve corners her about it. He then baits her with all this innuendo about his secret weapon.
Only to reveal that his actual secret weapon is his famous spaghetti sauce.
No woman has been able to resist my secret weapon once they've sat down and feasted on it.
Which leads to him promising future lovemaking on the ironing board and with barbecue equipment.
It's the perfect mix of high passion and domestic absurdity that defines them.
But throughout all of this, the threats, the chases, the forced engagement, Daisy's physical health has been deteriorating.
She's sick, she's tired, she's weepy, especially in the mornings, and she's avoiding Steve.
She's a psychologist diagnosing herself, and she's getting it completely wrong. She thinks she's an emotional basket case, unable to handle pressure.
She believes her symptoms are proof of a fundamental psychological failure.
The suspense builds when she finally goes to the doctor, expecting to be told she needs vitamins or more fiber.
And while she's gone, Steve panics, calling hospitals, convinced the roach has finally gotten to her.
When she gets back, she just collapses on the porch, sobbing happily. Her diagnosis resolves everything.
She cries out, "I don't have PMS or low blood sugar or irregularity. I'm pregnant. We're going to have a baby."
The symptoms she thought were a psychological failure were actually a profound physical commitment.
And Steve Crow, the man who calmly faced firebombs and adopted a drooling sheepdog,
Immediately crashes to the floor in a dead faint.
he wakes up soaking wet, completely disoriented, the ultimate surrender of control.
With the tension finally broken, the last confessions can come out.
Daisy accepts the proposal, relieved that she's suffering from hormones, not an emotional crippling.
And Steve confesses that he was the one who stole her old junker of a car. He hid it in his garage to keep her from breaking down on the road.
But Daisy has the last laugh. She confesses that she and Elsie already broke into the garage, took the car,
And sold it to pay for typing her dissertation.
His protective gesture was immediately subverted for academic gain.
It's the ultimate exchange of trust. Daisy decides to finish her thesis, start her job at the nursing home, and get rid of the sports car Steve bought her because she's tired of pulling men's underwear off the antenna.
And her final line to Steve says it all. "You're sneakier than I am." They're two hyper-confident schemers who found their connection in chaos.
So this entire deep dive, it's really shown us the profound risk, but also the reward of extreme overcommitment.
Daisy's professional life was masking her deep personal yearning and her actual physical state. She was so focused on the external goal, the doctorate, the 7 jobs, that she almost missed the greatest opportunity for fulfillment, which was literally growing inside of her.
The solution to her burnout wasn't achieving the goal. It was abandoning that hyper-independence and accepting the mutual responsibilities of connection and family.
And that initial chaos, the oil spill, it wasn't just a traffic jam. It was the mechanism that forced this ambitious woman to pause, run into a dope dealer, and go down a completely different path.
A path that led her to a man who would trade a sports car for a Jeep, adopt a sheepdog, and face down firebombs.
All because he was, as the source says, lusting after a woman who baked dog cookies.
And Daisy's own self-reliance was unstoppable. Steve tried to lock away her vulnerability, that old car, but she and Elsie just monetized his protection to fund the very goal that was driving her to paralysis.
It makes you ask, right? If our own safety nets fail, are we truly prepared for the unexpected and maybe the greatest opportunities that are hidden in that chaos?
Indeed. The final irony is that the commitment she was most afraid of, marriage, family, became the only thing powerful enough to make her stop working 7 jobs. The fear of an irrevocable commitment was resolved by a biological one that truly was. Someone to think about the next time you try to squeeze in your Sith commitment before lunch.